Yes, it is that time of year again when we are just over the halfway point and all these videos start popping up about our mid-year reset, manifestation check-ins, revitalizing our routines, etc. Those are great and all, but what if you've been struggling with having any motivation to begin with? What if you not only lack motivation, but you don't even have a vision for your future? In a world that often subconsciously pushes us to achieve levels of greatness that can seem like an impossible dream, is it wrong to feel lazy or have no real motivation or goals? If we do want to have goals and increase our own motivation, where do we even begin? But wait, before you start overwhelming yourself with all of these questions, take a deep breath and release some of the tension you may have brought into this video with you. Now, let's talk about the reality behind having goals and finding your own motivation. Hola, my beautiful lotus flowers. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're into nerding out on everything astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation, this is the community for you. Today we're talking about the real, authentic, true way to take control of your life. We've had an influx of content take over the internet on how to take control of your life, how to be that girl, etc., etc. And whereas this isn't necessarily a bad thing, I'm all for the inspiration and the spreading an ambitious mindset and all of that. But that kind of leaves a lot of you probably feeling left out and can maybe leave you feeling even worse than you started off. If that is you, if you struggle with having any ambition in the first place, you have no vision for your future, you don't even care to create a vision for your future, but you want a direction, then this is the video for you. Today there is no fluff. These are the real ways that I believe you can begin to find a direction and actually garner inspiration in your own life. First, let's talk about reframing our mindsets on ambition and having goals. Society markets us a lot of ideas about who we should be, what we should like, what we should achieve, and I'm not going to deny the fact that in our society, we are required to somehow make a livable income and adhere to the laws of the society we live in. That's just the way of life we were born into. However, this grand idea that we should all live out some incredible dream and have some inherent passion that drives us to achieve immeasurable success is just another way society has programmed us. Look me in the eyes right now. Yes, I said it. The idea that you need to be born with some amazing passion and set goals to achieve a successful life around this passion is not the entire truth. It's actually kind of insane that we would sum up the human experience to this and this alone. Think about the more primitive days of humanity when we lived in a simpler way because we weren't so advanced. For most people, the meaning behind their lives was tending to their animals and crops every day, selling certain resources they grew or made themselves for profit, ensuring their loved ones were fed, and being taught how to survive in the same way, connecting with their community, etc. They did not have the luxury of what life would be like as a TikTok star, becoming a crypto billionaire, and so on. Not only did they not have the luxury of thinking of their future this way, but these weren't even concepts that had been put into their heads, not even close. These concepts weren't around to make them feel like their day-to-day life was inadequate. In some ways, it is truly a blessing that many of us now have the option to even dream of such a life. But it's also a curse that can trick us into believing that our life isn't enough as it is. My point in saying all of this is that human life was not always about the big, grand ideas of what could be achieved in this life. A lot of humans in the older days in history, they had to only worry about day-to-day activities, and that's all that they knew. They didn't know anything else. So because of that, I'm sure they still had their issues, and life back then was definitely not easy. I'm just saying that on this topic in particular, they did not think about that, meaning there was a time where human life was not all about that. We have created we have curated as humans this concept that we need to achieve big, and you want to live this grand life and have these materialistic things and so on and so forth. And it makes us feel pressured to achieve those things as well, because why? Then we become better citizens of society. We become harder workers. We tend to do more of the stereotypical things that we're expected to do in order to gain larger success in life. We're more likely to follow the blueprint that has been set up for us since we were born to become a contributing member of society. But a contributing member of society looks different now than it did back then. I remember when I was younger, I read a really popular fictional book called Anne of Green Gables. And if any of you know this book and have read it yourselves, leave a comment down below. It really left a mark on me. And I have terrible memory. I have horrible memory, but that book left a mark on me, and I'll always remember how it made me feel, because it's essentially just a book about a orphan girl who is adopted by a farmer who is growing very old and his health is getting poorer. So he can't tend to his farm the way that he wants to. So he goes to adopt a boy, a young boy, who is going to be able to help him on his farm. But some mistake is made, and it's an orphan girl who arrives, and this is Anne. And Anne is a super lively spirit, and she's very imaginative and charismatic. The book is pretty much about her journey in this small, quiet farm town as a young orphan girl living with this old farmer. And that way of life, it really takes you through how that way of life can be so rich. It's a way of life without all of the unnecessary extra material pleasures that we enjoy these days. And it's just her living in the present, day to day on this farm. And it's just such a beautiful, simple, heartwarming story. And it always left a mark on me because it led me to look at life a little differently as a young girl. My point is, the first step, the first real true step in healing your struggle with lacking vision or just not caring about your future is realizing that life is not all about that anyways. There is so much more to life than what you achieve with your future. It is far more important and far more productive if you're in this state of mind, or even if you are somebody who's already ambitious, it is far more productive to find daily ways to connect with yourself. Learn who you are. Find the small things on a daily basis that you truly appreciate, that you look forward to, that you're grateful for. The routines that we have, the people we spend time with, the activities that spark joy in us. These are the things that actually add richness to your life. And a lot of time it's through curating these things that we end up naturally coming across what inspires us and what makes us happy. And life is much more about learning ourselves and finding the things that make us happy on a daily basis to feel fulfilled. It's not necessarily having some big aspirations or having some passion that leads into a big aspiration that's going to make us feel fulfilled. So making this realization before anything else and reframing your mindset to look at life in that perspective is the most powerful first step. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below if any of these end up resonating with you, or if you have any tips yourself, or any additional questions come up during this video. I'd love to talk to you guys in the comments about it. Number 2, let's talk about developing a vision for yourself. I started by identifying just one thing in my life that I know I've always wanted. And for me, that was somehow obtaining the freedom to do whatever I wanted, whether that was be lazy or go see the world, etc. Even though I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there, at least visualizing what my life could look like if I were to have that freedom made me want to try and connect the dots. Start developing a vision or goal for yourself. Try identifying one thing that you have always wanted. It can be something as simple as having more free time, or as complex as a dream career. Visualize what your life would truly look like if you were to achieve that goal, and use that vision as motivation to start connecting the dots towards making a reality. Remember to start small and focus on creating a fulfilling daily routine first that aligns with your values and passions. And as you make progress, your visions and goals may become clearer. If you don't know where to even begin with this step because nothing comes to mind and you're drawing a complete blank when you think about something you've always desired or always wanted, then I recommend thinking about what you don't want, or also think about people's lives who you tend to be jealous of, and start breaking down why you feel jealous of that person's life or why it is that you don't want that certain thing. And asking these questions and not being afraid to dive into those emotions that are viewed as negative can really shed a lot of light on the area of our lives where we do want a certain outcome and we do desire certain things. I don't recommend sitting in these emotions for long. I don't think that you should use jealousy or contempt or anything like that as a driving factor. I don't think that you should ruminate on the things that you don't want, because that's not a very good energy to sit in the long term. But just use those feelings at first to identify. And I recommend writing these things down, because also the more that we try to think about things in our mind alone, everything tends to get jumbled. Our thoughts in our mind become a knotted mess, and it becomes really hard to track what we're thinking and how we're feeling, and everything becomes confusion. So when you actually write down your thoughts and actually make it into a list or write about it, it gives us an organized place to refer back to those thoughts so they don't get lost in the knotted mess of our brains. Now, it is important to remember that developing a vision or any goals for yourself, no matter how big or how small, can be quite a process. So please be patient with yourself. Be patient with life and be patient with your journey. Everybody is living in their divine journey, and everything is in divine timing. The only job that you have is making the moves to actually set something in motion. You control whether you're going to stay in stagnancy or whether you're actually going to get the wheel turning, and that is essentially your biggest job. Be patient with yourself when you're creating these goals or trying to figure out what you want your vision to be, and do not be afraid to change that vision either. If something that you thought of right now watching this video is something you thought you wanted, but then you find out later through getting to know yourself more that you actually don't want that and you want something completely different, that is totally fine. This is another lie that we have been programmed to believe, is that we need to have established some big passion. We need to have identified what our passion is by like age 18 or sooner. And then from the moment that we leave high school, we need to start on a path to pursue that one passion for the rest of our lives. That is a lie. We constantly change. If you would have asked me when I was like 5 what I really wanted to be in this life, I would have probably said like a princess or something. I don't need to resonate with the passion that I thought I wanted or the outcome I thought I wanted when I was 17 or 18, before I even experienced life, before I even went on to get to know myself on a deeper level. As you get to know yourself on a deeper level and as you evolve through life, things you want and the way that you look at life is going to change. It's inevitable. If you're letting yourself evolve and you're actually progressing in this life, then change is inevitable. And it is okay to pivot your passions and pivot your direction because you have a new direction you want to go in. Lastly, let's talk about changing your daily routines. There have undoubtedly been times in my own life where I wasn't sure which direction to take, or I didn't have a clear vision for my future, but I knew that the first step towards figuring those things out was putting things in motion through my daily routines. Changing your daily routines can be a powerful way to increase motivation and simultaneously uncover what you enjoy doing. By incorporating new habits and activities that bring joy and fulfillment into your life, you can create a sense of purpose and inspiration even if you aren't actively pursuing some lofty goal. Experiment with different routines and find what works best for you, whether it's starting your day with exercise, practicing mindfulness, or dedicating time to a creative pursuit. By making even the tiniest changes to your daily routine, you can create a positive momentum that can lead to bigger changes and a clearer vision for your future. In addition to that, it can be very helpful to identify any current habits or routines that you have going on that are actually damaging your energy, draining your energy, demotivating you, making you feel lethargic, etc. Perhaps you know that you're guilty of spending too much time scrolling social media, too much time binge watching TV, and I know these are stereotypical habits, but they're stereotypical for a reason. They are true. Most people struggle with these two habits, and they are some of the biggest energy drainers out there. And trust me, I know that it's easier said than done to actually incorporate healthier habits into your daily routines and kind of kick the older habits to the curb. And I'm not even saying that you have to kick those bad habits completely to the curb. It's okay that we get a sense of enjoyment from scrolling through funny reels on TikTok or Instagram. And it's okay that we get enjoyment from binge watching a show on Netflix or whatever. That's okay, and you have a right to enjoy those. Like, it's amazing that we have these luxuries these days that humans in the past didn't. We have such fun ways to entertain ourselves and indulge in fantasy worlds and everything. But everything has a limit. There needs to be balance. And if you're spending all day sucked into the fantasy world of the TV, of video games, of whatever, you're never going to find the true fulfillment that is waiting for you in this lifetime. You're essentially staying stuck in a mindless vortex. You're stuck in a mindless vortex on a daily basis that is draining your energy. This life is very short, and not to be cryptic, but it can end at any moment. At any moment. If you knew that you had no more time left and you only had a couple days left in this life, would you want to spend it binge watching a show that has ultimately no true meaning in this life? If your answer is yes to that, I don't even know why you're watching this video, but I'm assuming if you're watching this video, that is not what you want to do with the last 2 days of your life. So really think about what brings you the most joy in your daily routine. Find those practices that are meaningful to you and make you feel fulfilled on a daily basis. For me, when I started to do this, I started to meditate. And it was my first time meditating. This was years ago. It was my first time trying to practice meditation on a daily basis. And I found that this made such a difference in my life because I tried that new habit that I'd never tried before. And I started small. I started with only a couple minutes and upgraded myself over time as I got more used to the practice of meditation and the habit of it. And I noticed a clear difference in my mind and my energy levels and the clarity that I feel throughout the day. I can't trade that for anything. It adds such a subtle richness to your life to find those daily practices that make you feel healthy, that make you feel happy in different ways. By reducing or eliminating some of those unhealthier habits that are currently overtaking your life, you make room for the more meaningful habits that could be fulfilling you on a daily basis, that could be advancing you or getting you closer to the life that you want to live, whatever that may be. It could just be that you want to live a daily life where you have a stable job, you get to take care of your pets, you get to take care of your family, whatever it is, and you get to spend time on your creative hobbies. That could be what you want. And that is amazing. But you're not going to curate that life or even find out that that's the life that you want if all you're doing is investing all your time into meaningless activities. But remember, it is okay if you don't have a clear vision for your future right this moment, even after watching this video. I just hope that this gave you some of the actionable steps you can take and actionable advice that plants a seed in your mind and in your heart about how you can create a fulfilling life. Essentially, I just want you to focus on creating a fulfilling day-to-day life first before getting caught up in the overwhelming questions and thoughts about the future. You may not even have that future. Like I said, life can end at any moment. And if we're so caught up in worrying about the bigger picture and the long-term aspirations and what we're gonna do, we lose the moment we have right now, which is all we might have. Who knows? We never know. None of us know that. So keep that in mind, and I just hope that this is able to offer you any help if you're feeling hopeless right now, if you're lacking ambition and you don't know what direction to go and you feel lost. I am so sorry. I have been there myself, and I know it's not easy. I can sit here and preach all I want, but I know it's easier said than done, and my heart is with you, and I am sending you so much loving energy. Please leave a comment down below if any of these tips helped you, which one stood out to you the most, or if you yourself have any tips for other people or any additional questions. Let's talk about it in the comments below. Please let me know. And once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want more meaningful content like this from me in the future. And if you haven't already, be sure to go watch these videos because they can help you so much more on your astrological, spiritual, and self-development journey. If again, you don't know where to begin, I gotcha. And I will see you in the next video that I upload. Thank you so much again for being here. Adios.